shows that ants don't need size to win. They rely on strategy. Attacking weak points. Using numbers to exhaust the enemy. Rotating fighters. If a powerful microscope were placed beneath your feet right now, you wouldn't just see soil, sand, or roots. You would discover a living city, a hidden world where thousands of tiny creatures are working, training, and preparing for battle. This is the ant colony, one of the most sophisticated social systems in nature. An ant nest is far from simple. Beneath the ground lies a network of winding tunnels like a maze. Specialized chambers for larvae, food storage, and the queen. Every centimeter of the nest is designed for defense and survival. In the world of ants, every individual has a clear role, the queen. She does not command or fight, but her survival determines the fate of the entire colony. Worker ants, the most numerous group. They dig tunnels, gather food, care for larvae, and can even rebuild the nest after destruction. Soldier ants, true warriors with powerful jaws. Their single mission is to defend the colony at all costs. There are no lazy ants. One failure can put the entire system at risk. Individually, ants are not intelligent like humans, but together, they make remarkably accurate decisions. Their secret is collective intelligence. Ants communicate through chemical signals called pheromones, antenna-to-antenna contact, and scent trails that guide and warn others. When one ant detects danger, it releases an alarm scent, and within seconds, an army is ready. From birth, some ants are biologically shaped to become soldiers. Strong, oversized jaws, tougher bodies, rapid reactions to danger signals. They do not feel fear. They know only one truth. If the colony survives, they survive. If it falls, they fall with it. And that's when we realize something astonishing. Though small enough to be crushed by a careless step, ants live in a world of discipline, strategy, and constant readiness for war. Most of the time, an ant colony is peaceful. Workers carry food. Larvae are carefully tended. Everything runs with clock-like precision. Then suddenly, an unfamiliar step touches the colony's border. A strange scent drifts into the tunnels. It takes only one abnormal signal for everything to change. Ants don't scream. They don't panic. They act with scientific precision. A guard ant freezes for a split second, raises its abdomen, releases an alarm pheromone into the air. The signal is invisible, but it spreads faster than sound. Within seconds, the message reaches the entire colony. Danger! An intruder is here. Something extraordinary happens next. Worker ants retreat, protecting the larvae. Soldier ants rush toward the threat. Nest entrances are narrowed or blocked. There is no commander, no spoken orders. Yet every ant knows exactly what to do. This is collective intelligence, thousands of tiny beings acting like a single organism. Soldier ants create a living barrier at the nest entrance, jaws wide open, antennae tense, bodies aimed directly at the enemy. Some species even use their bodies to seal entrances, lock together to form living walls, sacrifice themselves to buy time for the colony. For ants, retreat is not cowardice. It is strategy for survival. If the intruder advances further, battle becomes inevitable. But before the first bite, before the first sacrifice, ants teach us an important scientific lesson. War does not begin with strength. It begins with information and coordination. And once the alarm is sounded, it is no longer a single ant standing there, but an entire army awakening. When the intruder refuses to retreat, all other options vanish. In the ant colony, war officially begins. There are no battle cries, no drums, only the sudden, unified movement of hundreds of tiny warriors rushing toward a single point. Ants do not use guns or blades. Their weapons are biological. Powerful mandibles lock onto the enemy like steel clamps, holding on beyond the opponent's endurance. Defensive acid, sprayed to cause pain, confusion, and force retreat. Grab, lock, pull tactics. One ant grips the head, another the legs, working together like a living machine. The key rule: ants never fight alone. Every bite is part of a collective plan. Science shows that ants don't need size to win. They rely on strategy. Attacking weak points. Using numbers to exhaust the enemy. Rotating fighters so the opponent never escapes. When one ant falls, another immediately takes its place. The battle does not stop because of fear. It ends only when the threat is eliminated. In every battle, some ants never return. They hold the enemy until their final moment, use their bodies to block nest entrances, sacrifice themselves to protect larvae and the queen. From a scientific perspective, this makes sense. An individual may be lost, but the colony's genes survive. For ants, sacrifice is not tragedy, it is survival strategy. Once the enemy is driven away, alarm pheromones fade. Worker ants repair the nest. Larvae are checked and cared for. Soon, the colony returns to perfect order, as if war had never happened. Yet one truth remains. Even the smallest creatures can become an unstoppable army when they act with unity and coordination. Not every fight involves just a few ants. Sometimes, entire armies collide. The ground seems to tremble. Thousands of tiny bodies surge forward like a living wave. This is no longer a minor conflict. This is a battle for survival. In large-scale battles, ants do not rush in blindly. They form structured battle lines. Soldier ants hold the front, absorbing the attacks. Worker ants support from behind, pulling wounded nestmates to safety. Stronger ants rotate into combat, keeping the front line intact. Brain scientifically, this is known as flexible role division in biological warfare. There are no lone heroes. Victory depends on perfect coordination. Amid the chaos, some ants are severely injured yet continue to grip the enemy, become surrounded but refuse to retreat, use their own bodies to block the enemy's advance. Crying face, they receive no medals, no memorials. Yet because of them, the larvae and queen remain safe. DNA science describes this as individual sacrifice for the survival of collective genes. The most astonishing element is not numbers, but unbreakable collective will. Even as many fall, the battle line does not collapse. The formation does not descend into chaos. Chemical signals maintain the rhythm of combat. For ants, retreat is not an option. There are only two outcomes. The enemy withdraws or is completely driven away. When the battle ends, the ground falls silent. Survivors begin to clear the battlefield. Wounded nestmates are carried back to the nest. There is no time for mourning. The cycle of life allows no delay, because life must go on. And in that quiet moment, we realize the true strength of ants lies not in jaws, acid, or sheer numbers, but in the spirit of living together, protecting together, surviving together.
The battle is over. The frantic movements stop. The sharp alarm scent slowly disappears. Inside the nest, silence returns, not as an ending, but as the beginning of recovery. Worker ants immediately get to work, repairing collapsed tunnels, reinforcing damaged entrances, clearing the battlefield to remove scents that could attract new enemies. Scientifically, this is a smart survival response. A damaged nest left unrepaired becomes an easy target. Speed of repair determines the colony's safety. Once the nest stabilizes, top priority goes to inspecting the larvae, moving them to safer chambers, adjusting temperature and humidity. Larvae represent the colony's future. If the next generation survives, the sacrifices of the fallen are not in vain. Ants do not remember like humans, but they remember through chemical traces. Dangerous areas are marked with scent. Old paths may be abandoned. Defensive strategies are adjusted for the future. Scientists call this collective level learning. The colony becomes smarter after every battle. Before long, ants line up again to forage. New pheromone trails are laid. Daily rhythms return. Without close observation, you would never know that this place was once a brutal battlefield. From ants, we learn war is not about destruction, it is about protection and continuation. True strength lies in rising after loss. Small as they are, ants understand a powerful truth. To survive, one must recover and move forward.
Globe showing Europe, Africa from the world of ants to the world of humans. The war of ants has ended, but what they leave behind does not stay underground. Backhand index pointing right, it lives in the way we understand strength, unity, and how to overcome challenges together. Ants are small, yet their lessons are immensely powerful. Handshake unity. The greatest weapon a single ant is weak, but a colony of ants can carry objects many times their own weight, build bridges with their bodies, defeat enemies far larger than themselves. Brain science calls this collective synergy. Backhand index pointing right, when each individual plays their role, backhand index pointing right, the whole becomes unstoppable. Direct hit, everyone has value in an ant colony. Not everyone is a warrior, not everyone stands on the front line, but no one is useless. Some dig tunnels, some care for larvae, some stand guard. Backhand index pointing right, every role matters. Sparkle's a powerful lesson for us all. You don't have to be like others to be valuable. Brain what science learns from ANTS, not only children, but scientists learn from ants every day. By studying ants, humans have built swarm-based robots, designed smart traffic systems, developed artificial intelligence inspired by collective behavior. Backhand index pointing right, all inspired by creatures. Backhand index pointing right, we often overlook. Seedling the strength of never giving up. Ants are not strong because they never fall. They are strong because they rise after every battle, repair what is broken, continue living despite loss. Backhand index pointing right, this is true strength for ants and for humans alike. Glowing star final message. For you, the next time you see a tiny ant crossing your path, remember, and it comes from a world of discipline, sacrifice, perfect cooperation. Backhand index pointing right, small as they are. Backhand index pointing right, together they achieve the extraordinary. And so can you. Glowing star.